Hey all, welcome back. Today's video is all about discordant sound, the first raid added to Marvel's Avengers.
That's corrupted Vibranium, isn't it?
It is, but somehow biological.
Klaw has become the living embodiment of his machines.
Whoa, was that a dig at me? It felt like a dig at me.
Shush, Tony.
And honestly, this video is just about how you can complete the raid and get the awesome gear that comes after. I know with a word like raid, it can be a little intimidating to just jump right in. So let me say something that I think might ease your mind a little bit. I think that even though the raid is longer and probably requires more teamwork than the OLT, it's actually probably easier. The OLT has DPS checks that if you don't clear them, things get hectic and out of control really fast. If you don't DPS the super adaptoid quickly enough, things just go south. Everything I've seen in the raid, if you don't finish something in one phase, you get another chance. There's another phase right around the corner. It's almost like forgiveness is kind of baked into the raid, so you have the chance to complete it. Where the super adaptoid fight, the longer the time goes on, the messier that fight gets. The OLT is challenging in one way, the raid is challenging just a little bit in a different way. They're different types of content. If you were afraid of jumping in, let me just say, I think you can do it. I think that in the raid, teams without the highest DPS just really need to be able to survive until the next phase, and then they can continue DPSing bosses. As an example of that, we did a raid where we actually lost a player due to a disconnect, but we had a Kate who had invulnerability buff, and because of that buff specifically, we were able to survive long enough to 3-man the final fight. I think that's incredible. I think it's incredible that you can kind of power through that, even if it's a little bit more difficult. Also worth mentioning is that the raid doesn't have any tachyon mechanics, so enemies don't have extra shields, and there's no timer that you have to manage or anything like that. There's no risk of running out of time, except for in one portion of the raid, but we'll get to that. So, this is, to the best of my ability, an attempt to explain the entire raid from start to finish for you. Just so you know that you can trust me, I've completed the raid 9 times now. 6 times have been on PC, 3 times on PlayStation, and 2 completions were actually a 3-man by the end of it due to disconnects. All of the raids I've run so far have been with my Twitch community, and for now my plan is to keep raiding with my community because there are a lot of people who want to raid, and I want to help them. If you'd like to be a part of that, if you'd like to raid with me in my community, make sure you use the link in the description below to follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and join my Discord. I can't always guarantee everyone a run, but I am doing my best to help everyone I can, and I know there are other people in my community who are doing the same, so join us. Let's get you a raid. But for now, let's start from the beginning. The first part's the easiest to explain. Defeat the enemies, open the door.
Keep the rest of Klaw's men out of the mound.
Thank you, adored one.
Get inside! Now!
You'll find everything has gotten a lot bigger since you last heard from me.
Then, defeat the spiders. Open the next door. Probably imagine that if you're doing the raid, this is about as far as you're going to get without any form of communication. Because up next, the next door just isn't quite as easy. It's locked behind capture points and buttons. The basic way it goes is capture all 3 points, then press all 3 buttons, gather on the platform, and that will knock down the barrier.
Another barrier.
I will go to the front
Another way to get through it.
right one on the ground.
Okay.
Or you're over there already. I'll go by revealing.
Okay. Oops, I went to the wrong one. Damn it.
This might be where I should switch to Vibranium webs just because of the.
That goes. Yeah.
Yeah. I have Vibranium. It's up close. I could flip them.
pushing buttons. Button 2. And there's the bubble.
We use Klaw's sonic blast against him.
The old I'm rubber, you're glue maneuver. Nice.
You do that 3 times and you're through this phase. Saying it is a little bit easier than doing it though, because there's a good deal of enemies that are going to try to knock you off the points and push you away from the buttons. And if you don't hold those capture points until all 3 buttons are pressed, you lose access to the buttons and have to recapture the points.
And I'm getting yanked out. This is going terribly well.
Just use my unibeam on 2 of the tiny spiders.
How many minutes? There we go.
Oh shoot. My bad, now I'm in the middle of a takedown.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, I had it like instantly, and then I did a big takedown because he's right in the middle.
Oh, I just got yanked back.
Here, let me.
Oh, and again, this is the 3rd time I've been up on that platform and got pulled off. We lost one. If a player steps off one of the capture points and an enemy steps on, you start to lose that capture point, and if this happens for long enough, you might not get the bubble up in time for the red phase that can wipe all of you.
I'll just hide. Although I don't know how to hide on this side as much. Uh-oh. That's not very safe. That's not very safe either. I might go down. I get yeeted out in the middle of this thing. I actually would like you to blast, Klaw. Thank you.
Alright.
Alright. No.
If that happens, try to hide in a shadow so that way you don't go down. And that's going to be a big mechanic for a good portion of the raid. Whenever the world goes red, make sure you hide in a shadow of some kind, otherwise you're going to get instant downed. I'm not going to say it the whole time through this raid guide, because it's a pretty consistent mechanic. When you see red, hide in a shadow. But it is important, and I think, at least for colorblind people like me, it's important to call it out too. Like I said before, once you've done this 3 times, that's capturing the points and pressing the buttons and then using the bubble to take down Klaw's barrier, once you do that 3 times, you're through this encounter and on to the next one.
Can use these sonic dampeners again. They line the train tracks.
If we can get to the control room, we can bring the system back online.
And based on a quick diagnostic, the Vibranium ore separator in the forge is also not functioning. You must go to both.
Technically, I don't think you have to do the door puzzle next, but it is the puzzle we've always done first, so that's what we're going to cover first. But if you would rather, you can also do the platform jumping puzzle first, so do these in either order, and they'll get you to the same place. But the next puzzle we did, and have done for all of my runs, is the door puzzle. And for that, you're going to run to the right, again hiding in the shadows whenever you see red, and step on the first button. That first button is going to open a door, and then you send 2 more players through to step on those buttons. That's going to open another door, and then past that door, there is 1 more button that the last player stands on, who lets everyone else through. Alright, grab the next 2 doors.
Go to the farthest one.
Let me know when someone's on this first platform so I can come in.
Think we're good? Looks like he's on.
Okay, thanks. Anyway, yeah, Brian, get somebody's gonna get grappled by this spider, and it's got to be the person not on the button here. So just you
Volunteers tribute.
bodyguard me. Everybody can come through. There it is. Beautiful. Sounds pretty easy, right? Except that this is really just the introduction to the puzzle. This is showing you how the puzzle mechanics work before you do the actual puzzle. So get through the first 2 doors, defeat all the enemies, and then it's time to get onto the right platforms to open all of the doors. Now the mechanics of this puzzle are actually pretty similar to that little puzzle sampler I was talking about, but it gets a little bit more confusing in the midst of everything because there are a lot more buttons and there are a lot more doors. So one of the first things I would do if it's your first time is look at the button on the floor and then look at the wall next to it by the door, and there should be a series of 4 symbols. One of those symbols should be circled. That essentially seems to indicate what door that button is associated with. If the circle is around the bottom symbol, that means that the button that you're about to step on is associated with the first door for this puzzle section. If the circle is around the top symbol, that would mean that the button you're about to step on is associated with the last door of the puzzle section. And there are 4 doors in this section, just like there are 4 of you. So, rather than just trying to explain it without you seeing it, what I'm going to do here is use a long clip of me walking other people through the buttons, so that way you can see where to place people to get through these doors. I'm going to take this first one. Somebody grab... Oh, red.
I'm curious. I might be able to stand on it here. But I'm testing for science.
I didn't want to ruin your experience.
It looked like my keister was in there a little bit, but everything else wasn't lighting up.
Alright, somebody get the one right past this door, and then they have to stay there that whole time. Alright, somebody... Yep. And then someone get the next one past this door. So, Brian stays on that button. Who's this? Sorry. That's, okay. The HBK stays on that button. Grab this button right there. Oh, red.
That's not gonna cut it.
Okay. And then who's this? This is it Juan? After I get through this door, you're gonna come through and stand on... Whoa! Sorry, I got... Why am I getting pushed by that? That's weird. Stand on that. Oh, apparently that laser push... Can you hit that laser up there?
For a power attack, it maybe takes me off from one button first.
It does.
It does, yeah. Same with Healing Spirit. Alright.
That's my bad then. I did not know that.
Okay. All looks open. As far as I can tell.
I'm through.
Alright, and now HBK, you can go, but we can't go yet, Juan. Alright, well, hold on, once Brian gets on his platform there. Oh, no, guess not.
Looks like it's good.
Oh, Brian, you need to get on your platform before we can go.
Oh, the one in here.
Yeah. Now we can go, Juan. We just have to hold that door open for HBK. Yep. So basically, each side of the door just holds open a door. And of course, it should be said, the whole time you're trying to step on these buttons, the red death is coming and spiders are trying to attack you and pull you off the buttons. So be patient with one another because people are going to step off buttons and doors are going to close and you're going to have to wait for them to reopen. But that's okay. Like I said, there's no time limit here. You don't have to worry if it takes a few extra minutes. If you have one player on each of the buttons that I've indicated here, all of the doors should be open, and the player farthest away should be able to run through the final door, step on the final button, and let everyone else through. After that person is on the final button, you send the next farthest away person through, and then once that person's through, everyone else can go. From there, defeat enemies to activate the buttons, press them all at the same time, and take the elevator to... You'll remember at the top that I said none of the elements of the raid had a timer you had to worry about with the exception of one part. The Forge is that exception. This objective is all about restarting the Forge, and the first thing you want to do is decide 2 or more players to handle the top and the bottom of the Forge.
We'll start capping it since we're speedy, but then I'll get out of here. I should be able to get up pretty quick.
Alright.
I almost want this to kill me so I can heal.
You're good, you're good.
Oh, okay.
I'll do this.
Looks like 4.
4. The order goes like this. 1 or more players holds the bottom capture point on the Forge. That allows 1 or more players to go to the top of the Forge and punch, kick, shoot, whatever the pillar that the person on the bottom calls out in order to activate a side pillar on the forge that has corrupted vibranium that needs to be destroyed. When we've done it, we've sent one person to the bottom, one person to the top, and 2 people floating for revives or to help with enemies or to take out the side pillars that have corrupted vibranium. So the person on the bottom will say, I've got this symbol. They'll call that symbol out.
It's clear.
Okay, it's a downward arrow. The person on the top will activate that pillar by punching it or kicking it or shooting it, like I said. Downwards arrow. Woo! I almost died. Woo! Woo! And then the persons who are floating will take out the pillar that shoots out of the side of the forge.
See your stream settings for games like this? That's fine.
Alright, downwards arrow is basically done. In case it's helpful, these are the symbol names that we use. We call them fish, trident, 4H, and down arrow. Once you've done this for all 5 shapes, you're done. That's the forge. There are some tips though. For one, a player cannot touch the top of the forge unless that bottom point is being held. If that bottom point isn't held at all, don't go to the top yet. Alright, what happens if I jump in the center of this? Death!
Horn echo!
Immediate death!
Yeah.
If that bottom point has been taken back by enemies, you need to step off the top until that bottom point is recaptured. It's instant death if you go to the top without holding the bottom point. Another tip is that flying characters should be very careful about all the missiles flying at them, so dodge often or use other evasive tactics in order to get out of those situations. They'll knock you down out of the sky, all the way off the map sometimes, so just be careful. There are a lot of people who will probably tell you that you need flying characters for this portion, but we've done it without. You can do it without flying characters. The characters that are shooting at the side pillars to destroy the corrupted vibranium when they come out either need to be standing on a platform around the center, or they can even jump on top of that pillar and shoot, punch, kick down to the corrupted vibranium right below them. But they do have to watch out because as soon as they defeat that corrupted vibranium, the pillar closes, and if you're not careful, you might fall off the map there too. I can't see the... Oh, there's the health bar. Woo! Mr. Red, thank you so much for using your prime here, dude. Oh, this is gonna disappear as soon as we finish this. Woo! When you finish this, you move on to...
Trouble!
The jumping puzzle is pretty simple, but basically all you do is use the capture points to get ground-based characters across the gaps.
This is going to be the easiest thing ever with 3 basically flyers.
Just gotta get me across.
Where are you off to, Avengers? Pride comes before.
Alright, no need for me to wait for the button because you guys can swing, so. Cool. We're good with that. The first capture point will get you to a button that can be held to get people to the second capture point, and then the person on the button can cross. If ever at any point during this section there is someone not on one of the 2 capture points, the button platform turns into instant death, so be careful. If you have a flying character, I recommend sending them to the second capture point immediately, just to make sure that the person on the button won't die. After that, there's another jumping puzzle with the same idea, but you have to hold both capture points in order to activate the center button. The button spawns grapple points for the people on the capture points to swing across, but people on capture points and people on the buttons have to leave at the same time, otherwise those things are going to disappear and not everyone will be able to make it across. Time it out with a simple countdown and you should be good to go. Otis, can you grab the right side platform here, please? Not that. That's an enemy. Thank you, Otis. Okay, I'm gonna go stand on the button. Woo! Otis got a little bit of yeet applied to him. You got the yeet debuff applied. I am on the platform. So, ready in 3. Everybody's going to jump across in 3. Make sure you're going this way, by the way. In 3, 2, 1, go. Then, defeat the enemies, press all the buttons at the same time once again, and take the elevator to...
Shuri, you can use white noise to keep the corruption from returning. You will do no such thing, princess.
All right. He missed the coronation.
Corrupted Vibranium is taking over Shuri's control room, and she needs your help to stop it. Here's how my team has always done it. One character, probably a melee or a tank character, holds a door point open and works on enemies.
Destroy
Right.
the control.
I'll hold the door.
Destroy control.
Fight time, guys!
Another character, probably a flyer, but it could be anyone, goes through the door, grabs the anti-metal buff, and I believe it spawns in a random place behind the door, so you might have to search for it, and brings it back to the rest of the team. Okay. I just want to...
I'll zip those guys together.
excuse me? Oh, I went the wrong way. Alright, 50-50 shot that changing directions is going to help. I'm doing the
Vibranium. Oh,
the Monty Hall problem. It worked! Yes! Oh, got hit by a rocket. I got it. Same door is open, right?
Yep.
Okay. 4 door.
That felt good.
The 4 Thor doors.
The 4 Thor doors in the corridors? Is that what you're saying?
Anyone get some photos?
I'm here. The anti-metal buff that you bring back lets you destroy the large corrupted vibranium nodes, which sounds easy enough, but they grow back. You need to keep them defeated until the timer runs out, and then Shuri disables them with her blast. Repeat this until all the big nodes are defeated. 30 seconds.
We actually were good. Yep.
30
As long as we get
seconds.
This one, and then I'll switch to the left side. Okay. After this, it kind of screws up doing 2 at once, but that's okay.
Oh!
Oh my goodness.
We got 15 seconds.
Let's just make sure and get this one, I think, to be safe.
I can hit this one if someone can help me with the one on the left.
Yeah, we'll help on the right one, maybe, too.
Charging up the white noise.
Oh no, we're out of time.
We got that one.
The 3 players who didn't go to get the anti-metal buff themselves have to stand near enough to the player who did to get the buff as well. So find a place where you can all stand together, focus on nodes, and maybe take out more than one at once. You do have to watch out though, because the smaller nodes and the enemies are trying to get to Shuri to defeat her. So if you see the smaller nodes growing towards Shuri, make sure you destroy them. Oh, we're about to lose a generator here.
Is that a wipe if you do? I actually don't know.
We should probably get this one next.
Back. Yeah.
We found that just holding and using the same door every time is probably the least confusing for our team, but you can use any or all the doors if you really want. It's just up to you. We just use the same door every time so we don't have to worry about callouts in that section. Once you've defeated all the giant corrupted vibranium nodes, you're gonna go to...
You can't trap sound. Sound is everywhere. We may not be able to, but the gods most certainly can. Orisa, now is the time. Think you are powerful? You have never seen
That giant claw you've been seeing the whole mission so far, it's time to get your first crack at him. And Zawavari is here to help. He's working on bringing the monster down so you all can attack him, and you just basically have to stay alive until Zawavari manages to rope him down into attacking range. There's a trick to this though, and it honestly took us a few tries to figure it out. You think you want to keep all of the enemies out of the circle and hold that point, but you actually don't. There's one. The echo enemies, you want to let into the circle and defeat them there. And it's tricky because they stagger back pretty easily, so get behind them, push them in, defeat them in the circle to get the Ancestral Spirit buff, which allows you to do more damage to Klaw. Oh wait, I just realized. Well, that'll get him closer. We actually just found out in one of my latest runs that if you defeat 5 echoes inside the circle in one phase, it skips the rest of the Zawavari charging up portion and allows you to go right to a damage phase. So the more echoes you defeat in the circle, the faster this section will go. You do quite a bit more damage to Klaw, and that'll mean you'll be able to defeat this encounter quite a bit faster. But don't worry if you don't do all the damage on 1 phase, or 2 phases, or maybe even 3 phases. I've seen this fight go to 3 phases so far, and I think you could probably go to more. The only issue is that each phase you lose some of the pillars you hide behind for the Red Death portion. So, try to defeat Klaw as fast as you can, but don't get too stressed out if it takes a few phases. By the way, when Klaw is down and you're attacking him, look for his health bar to disappear. If you didn't take his health bar all the way down and it disappears, that means this damage phase is over and it's time to hide behind a pillar because it's the Red Death. Red, red, red. If you survive this test, you're gonna find yourself in This is it. The final fight. The final test of your metal. Get it? Like, Vibranium? Nah, never mind. Klaw has a few phases though, so let's break them down and get you through this raid. First, there's... By the way, if you come up in this corner behind this like node here, and as far as I've seen, if you jump, we'll test it right now. I saw the indicator. I did not die. This one's the hardest to explain because, honestly, as far as I can tell right now, sometimes the visual indicator for where Klaw is about to shoot his laser just doesn't appear. And that's unfortunate. During this phase, the best I can say right now is separate from each other, revive each other as necessary, and you'll know it's this phase because Klaw will be giant, he'll be far away, and he'll be pointing his cannon at you. I think that this is going to get fixed and you'll know just where he's shooting. But for now, play it safe, stay separate, just survive until the next phase. Because if you survive till the next phase, you get to... In this phase, Giant Claw walks towards you. That's how you know this phase is happening. He smashes his weapon into the center platform, so don't be standing on that platform at that moment, and sends out sonic rings meant to hurt you. You can either dodge them, heal through them, fly above them, whatever you need to do, just survive. I will note as well that you can also apply some stun to Klaw, which is going to be helpful in a second during this phase, so attack his giant cannon if you can. Because the next phase...
What the? Yeah, surprise! Oh, got him.
Stompies, little stompies. After Klaw shrinks, you might notice that your damage numbers look a little bit small. That's because this is a stun phase. Fill up the entire stun bar with whatever attacks work best for you. Please, in this case, equip some intensity. And then you're going to move on to the doors behind the left and the right platforms open. Send one player all the way back, probably the person who can survive the best, to hold the point and give the rest of the team the anti-metal buff they need to actually damage Klaw. I'm going back.
Take portals out first.
Alright. Stepping on.
Use any vibranium stuff you got for these.
And I'm hosed right now.
Oh, can you guys heal, Brian? I'm not there, obviously. Stepping on now. As far as I know, if you take your time DPSing, this phase lasts for up to about 25% of his health. If you DPS really quickly, you can sometimes do even more than that, but don't worry if you don't. You get more than one try. These phases repeat until Klaw is defeated, but there is a little bit more you should know. First, Klaw is going to spawn portals. When you see them, defeat them. If you don't defeat them quickly enough, enemies will come through that'll make it harder to fight Klaw because you'll also have to focus on them. Second of all, the person you send through the doors to the back is going to have to fight to survive while the team is doing the DPS. That's why I said you should send someone who can survive, because it's honestly not easy.
Your screams will be music to my ears.
Cosmic Surge is so good back here.
It's so good.
I'm just taking damage and immediately healing all the way back up. A bunch of enemies come after you back there, and if you're not careful, this player can go down, and that can stop the DPS phase in its tracks while the other teammates go back to revive that player. Third, callouts matter. Call things out as you see them. Help your team. Especially if you see Giant Klaw pointing his cannon, let people know. It's going to help.
You think that is enough to stop me, the master of sound?
Those phases repeat until either you defeat Klaw or Klaw defeats you. Keep going, don't get discouraged, be persistent, and I am confident that you can beat this thing. And that's honestly it for this guide. If you follow everything I've told you, you should be able to beat the raid, no matter who you're playing with. If you're playing with someone who doesn't know, help them. You know how to do it now, so teach other people too. I really hope this guide helps you. I hope you use it to help other people through the raid, and I hope I've answered all your questions. Feel free to put any more in the comments because I don't think it's possible that I've answered absolutely everything. But thank you so much for watching.